Welcome to the Blog Chronicles podcast. I am your host, Matthew Loomis, owner of BuildYourOwnBlog.net, a full-service destination for anyone wanting to start a new WordPress blog and achieve long-term online success. On this episode, we're going to be talking about search engine optimization, a topic that many new bloggers are either unfamiliar with or they find their eyes glazing over when the topic comes up because SEO can sound rather boring and complicated at times. Let me tell you, SEO doesn't have to be like that. SEO can be fun if you have a powerful tool at your fingertips to help you cover all the bases in just a few minutes of your time. That's the purpose of today's podcast. My guest today happens to be one of the top SEO experts on the planet. And not only is he generous with his knowledge, you will also be introduced to a fantastic tool he created that helps you apply search engine optimization to your blog posts. Don't worry, there is a free version of this tool available. Here's the thing. A balanced, practical approach to SEO can bring your blog dramatic increases in your website traffic. You just need to understand some of the basics to SEO, which isn't as complicated as you might think. You do want more website traffic, right? Okay, so drum roll please. My guest today is Joost de Valk. He's the creator of a WordPress plugin called Yoast SEO. This tool makes search engine optimization simple and easy to perform. Joost de Valk created this plugin 4 years ago. It is now being used on over 5 million websites. With over 5 million websites using this WordPress plugin, there's got to be a reason why so many people like it. From my years of experience in using it, I can tell you firsthand how simple the Yoast SEO plugin is to operate. Joost de Valk himself was the original developer, and in my opinion, his ability to break down SEO into simple terms is why his company Yoast SEO has taken off and grown to 30 employees. Yoast's expertise at knowing how Google works and what makes a blog post stand out in search engines is why I wanted to introduce him to you on this show. Are you ready? It's time to add Joost de Valk's story to the Blog Chronicles. Hi Joost, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You know, many bloggers starting out hear the term SEO or search engine optimization, but they only have a vague idea of what it is and what it's about, and they don't have a clue what to do with SEO. So I want to start out by asking you, as one of the world's best-known search engine optimization experts, how do you define SEO?
It's basically everything that you do to increase your ranking in what we call organic search, so in the free non-paid search results. We usually define it with three different areas. That's technical optimization of your site, content optimization on your site, and the off-site SEO, which is mostly link building, as in getting people to link to your site and talking about you.
Mm-hmm.
Those three areas together basically make up SEO and have, depending on which niche in search you're in, they have differing problems and issues and challenges, and so in some cases you'll need to do a lot of link building. In other cases you won't even need that many links. You just need a very good site, etc., etc. And so it's a combination of those three, and whichever tactics you need to apply from all the tactics that are available for those three, it really depends on whatever niche you're in.
Okay, so your Yoast SEO WordPress plugin helps us do that, right?
Well, it helps doing two of the three things. So we do content optimization, which is what we try to aim people at most. Mm-hmm. And we try to take away all the technical optimization that people need to do. So we try to solve that so transparently that people don't even notice that we're doing that, which funnily enough happens more than we want now. So we actually need to start telling people what our plugin actually does. Mm-hmm. But we take care of pretty much all the technical optimization that can be done. And at that point, try and help you through our Yoast SEO content analysis to improve your writing and to improve how well optimized your copy is for specific keywords. So it's those two combined that really help people get better rankings. I always tell people that SEO stands for seriously effortful optimization, because just installing a plugin is not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
You'll really need to do some work.
Right, and that's what I want to focus on today is using your plugin, because I've been a user of it for years, and I think it's awesome. And
Cool.
I want to and I want to ask you, why is this plugin so awesome? I say that as a longtime user. What makes it so great?
Well, I think that what makes it great is that exactly what we try to do is solve everything that we can without bothering you, and then helping you optimize your content to the max, while giving you in our options a lot of options to change things should you want to. But we're getting more and more to the point where we're so sure that our default settings are the best possible option that we are hiding more and more options from people because they can only shoot themselves in the foot. And we're focusing more and more on doing all the technical stuff right automatically and helping you write better content and helping you optimize your content better, as our main point of focus.
Okay, so on March 1st of this year, the latest version of Yoast SEO 3.1 was released, and this update includes a new feature that allows you to set primary categories for your posts. Can you tell us a little more detail about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the latest, by the way. I think we're at 3.3.4 by now.
Oh, okay.
We're doing a lot of releases. We've grown our team quite a bit, so we're rapidly developing. But the primary category is a method. So we have breadcrumbs in Yoast SEO that we allow you to use. And one of the annoying things of both breadcrumbs and URLs in which you have your category was that you can never set which category showed up in that URL. You can never set which category showed up in that breadcrumb, because you could select 3 or 4 categories and one would be in the breadcrumb and one would be in the URL, and it would seem totally random. Because we use both rather extensively ourselves, I was like, okay, I need a way to determine a primary category so that I can say, okay, so this is mostly this category, and even if a post is in 2 categories and it really belongs in 2 categories, I still get to choose one, so I get control over what the user sees as the category in which that post belongs, etc. So it's basically a bit of control. It was something that I think actually was lacking in core. We call it a taxonomy in core, which is actually when I say core, I mean WordPress core, sorry. So we call a category, we call that a taxonomy, and taxonomy is a term that actually comes from biology. But the funny thing is that in biology, you can never be into groups. You're either X or Y, you're not both.
Right, you're not. You can either be a mammal or a mammal or a reptile, right?
Yeah, you're not. You might be very close, or you might be something that is in the middle between those two, but you'd still be either a mammal or a reptile, and you'd be somewhere on the scale. But you still have to have a primary thing. And so we added that, and we tried to do it so subtly that it could move into core at some point should core want to do that.
It sounds very interesting. I'll have to dig more into that new feature there. Now, I want to get into some other things about the plugin. Many listeners to this podcast are brand new to blogging, so they don't have any grasp of how SEO has changed over the years, which is probably a good thing.
Yes.
And no need to get into all those changes. So I do want to ask you though about keyword density. Now I know you're aware that today a lot of conventional SEO wisdom is that keyword density isn't that big of a deal now. At least that's my impression.
Hmm.
It's been de-emphasized a lot. Many experts have been saying for 3 years now that Google will penalize you for practicing what is known as keyword stuffing,
Yeah.
which is putting your keywords on the page as often as possible. And that obviously makes for some terrible reading for the consumers. So, yet I've noticed that Yoast SEO for WordPress plugin continues to factor in keyword density. So you obviously think that keyword density is still relevant. Can you talk about that? Why do you still factor in keyword density?
Well, simply because it still matters. We have changed what we consider keyword stuffing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So up until I think like 2 years ago, you could write up until to a height of like 5% keyword density, and we'd still give you what we call a green bullet. We give you scores in green, orange, and red. And
Mm-hmm.
green is good, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that changed dramatically. I think it's down to 3% now, which I still think is fairly high.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that it's still hard for most terms to be found for that term if the term is not on your page.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that that is the case, then it becomes a matter of, okay, so keyword density, my keyword density shouldn't be too high, and Google wants to see some synonyms and other things. But it also still needs to see the keyword density. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not, there is no such thing as an ideal keyword density, I think. But I have seen posts where we increased the keyword density a bit and it changed our rankings. So it
Mm-hmm.
still does have an effect. It's just
Okay.
not the same as it used to be in the past. And when you go overboard, it actually becomes a negative issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, um,
So
well,
there's no magic number like when you've crossed the line and gone too far, or
no, no. I wish there was, but on the other hand, I'm very happy that life is not that simple.
right?
So yeah, no, it's it is fairly tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly tough to determine what good and what bad is. It's also fairly language dependent.
Mm-hmm.
I found that a lower keyword density in English is less of a problem than a lower keyword density in, for instance, Dutch, my own native language,
Hmm.
because Google just is pretty bad at Dutch, so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know as many synonyms,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't have the same strength in actually determining what content is about. Also, probably because there's only 17 million Dutch people in the world, there's only like 30 million people in the world at all that even speak Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
or let alone write in it. So the corpus in which Google searches for synonyms of words is way, way smaller than it is in English.
Wow. Interesting.
So these things differ and basically require you to play with them. But I think we give you a green bullet at 0.5% keyword density now,
Mm-hmm.
which means that if you want to rank for a specific word and you're not mentioning that word once every 200 words,
Hmm.
then maybe you shouldn't be ranking for that word.
Interesting. Once every 200 words.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty doable, isn't it?
That sounds doable, yeah, and still good to read. Still easy to
Yeah,
read.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in Yoast SEO Premium, we've added a feature for multiple keywords, so you can do synonyms and check the keyword density for a couple of synonyms. And we're actually
Hmm.
looking at, can we combine the keyword density when we know that there are synonyms. The only problem is that we never send away your content, so your content always stays in your site, and we all do all the analysis in your browser.
Hmm.
Um, so doing things like synonym analysis is actually pretty hard because we don't have the luxury of calling external APIs.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, there's ways of playing with that.
Can you quickly say what a API is?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So an API would be a service running at Google or somewhere else where you could get data about, well, your keywords or anything else that we could use in our analysis of your content. So what a lot of SEO plugins do is send your data to one or multiple services and use those services to analyze your content. We do all of that analysis in your browser and keep all the content on your own site because we're European and we have a different opinion about privacy than a lot of people, it seems.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really amazing tool for people like me that are not experts in SEO. It's really helpful. So I think I already know the answer to this next question, but I want the new bloggers to hear this from you directly. So my question is, to help your blog posts rank higher with search engines, which is more important and why? The SEO title tag or the post title?
The SEO title tag,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
both are important.
Mm-hmm.
I would implore you to use the keyword that you want to rank for in both.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also slightly different beasts.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that the SEO title tag is the title that people will see in the search results.
Mm-hmm.
And it can these days be slightly longer than your average title tag or post title on a blog will be because you've got a bit more space.
And I could see where naturally someone might think that would be more important because that's where you start, right?
That it is the place where you entice your reader to click on that result and come to your site.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of the most important ranking factors in Google still. It still determines what your content is about by looking at the title of your content, which is not very weird, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're going into a library, you judge a book by its cover as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important because of that. The thing is that so it's very important that you entice your people to click and that they land on a good page.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've done that, once you've reached that they've clicked to you, you actually get your second challenge, which is making sure that people stay on your site.
Mm-hmm.
And if they bounce back to the search results immediately, so if they go to your site and think, oh no, this isn't it, and go back, then you've actually lost something too. If that happens too much, then Google will devalue your rankings. So the title on the post page itself is also very important because it should entice people to keep on reading and it should make sure that they feel validated in I've clicked the right result.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as actual pleasing the robots, the SEO title tag is more
It
important.
is way more important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So for the sake of time, let me go on to the meta description. Can you explain what this is? And I'd like to pick your brain on what makes a fantastic meta description. Do you recommend using the keyword more than once in the meta description? What are some other things to think about when you're writing a meta description?
Okay, so the meta description is the text that you could have show up in the search results when people search for a keyword that you rank for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a couple of reasons why a meta description may or may not show up. The most important reason is, does the keyword that the searcher searched for, does that appear in your meta description, and is your meta description the best match for their search phrase in your content? So basically, it should be a very enticing piece of text that would make people understand what your post is about and why they should click on and read that post. Mm-hmm. Google says mostly publicly that they don't use it for ranking. So it's not a direct ranking factor. So whether you use your keyword in there once, twice, whatever, it really doesn't matter that much. But what's way more important is that description actually helps people understand why they should click onto your site. It it should make sure that they feel validated once you reach that, and once they click through, that they've actually clicked on a result that they understood. And it does mostly a copywriting thing. It's a important thing to do well in copywriting more than it is in optimizing it to the fullest for SEO.
But doesn't the plugin still tell you or give you a red dot if you don't have the keyword in the meta description?
It does, because if you don't have the keyword in the meta description, then the chance of your meta description showing up when you search for that focus keyword is practically zero.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So otherwise, you might as well not write a meta description.
But then you said, I'm just trying to get clarified in my mind. You said then, but it's really not that important.
No, so it's not important whether you mention it once or more than once.
Oh, okay. Just then the frequency.
Yeah, the frequency doesn't matter.
Okay.
But if you want it to show up for a term, then that term should be in there.
Okay. Got it. Your name is Yoast, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it took me a while to reprogram. I knew you had this business called Yoast, but silly American as I am, I thought your name was Joost. So
yeah. Well, you wouldn't be the first to introduce me as Joost from Yoast, which is always hilariously funny for everyone from.
Now, speaking of meta descriptions, when I create a post, I tend to take the meta description I write under the general tab in your plugin, and I copy it and I go to the social tab and I paste it in the Facebook and Google Plus descriptions. Yoast, do you recommend treating the social title tags differently than the search title tags to save time, or is it okay to use the same one in all places?
It depends a bit on your audience. I would probably say that in most cases, it's okay to use the same one on most platforms.
Okay.
I honestly don't care about Google Plus anymore.
Right.
But I do care a lot about Facebook and about Twitter. There's a couple of things to keep in mind there. First of all, if you don't copy it to the Facebook description, then Facebook will, I think these days, automatically pick up your meta description.
Okay.
So I don't think you'd even need to copy it per se, but I'd need to check on that.
Okay.
Second, in many cases, we do write different titles for Facebook. Because getting people to click on Facebook is an entirely different thing than getting people to click who are searching for specific content.
That's true.
Because they're in a very different mode when they're on Facebook than when they're browsing or searching for a specific topic. So it's whether you're browsing and it comes across because one of your friends liked it. Your reasons for clicking on that URL might be very different than it would be in search. But it really depends on your niche and what you write about and what type of visitors you have, etc.
I would say you have a little bit of a better picture of your audience in social versus search. So that might help, right?
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your audience in social is far broader. And your audience in search is far more targeted.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Because they are searching. If they've come to a search result that you're ranked on, they are searching for something that you have to offer.
Well, yeah, that is, good point.
And that's also why, regardless of the fact that and that social is driving tons and tons of traffic to a lot of sites. For most sites I've worked on, search is still by far the biggest referrer. And it's also way more important to optimize for search than for most sites than it is to optimize for social.
Right. I'm glad you clarified that and brought that up. That's something new bloggers need to understand.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to focus on Facebook and Twitter, uh,
Yeah, right.
and they have different purposes because through Facebook and Twitter, people can find out about you,
Mm-hmm.
even when they're not searching for you.
Right. Hmm. That is true.
So it has a different purpose. But if you have something that people are searching for, then search will almost always drive more relevant traffic
Mm-hmm.
than anything else.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Um, Moving on to the next topic, I wanted to ask you, Yoast. We all want to know this. Okay, long content or short content? Users of your plugin know you recommend that content has at least 300 words. But after that, which is better for SEO, 500 words or 5,000?
You're gonna hate me for this. It depends. Uh, I honestly like long articles. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time, 5,000 words is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've written some guides myself in the last few months that were 2,500 words and they're beastly long.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you start doing that, you need to be very well at structuring your text, giving people a table of contents for your article, etc. I mean, you're practically writing a book at that point.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the question is, what is the question that you're trying to answer with your article?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can answer that in 500 words, then by all means do it in 500 words.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can make sure that your article is the ultimate article about a specific topic, by writing a 1,500 or 2,500 word article, well, then by all means do.
Mm-hmm.
But you should also spend enough time then promoting that content so that other people know that you've written that awesome thing.
I've heard people say that, like, these epic mega posts are more pleasing to the spiders, the Google spiders, the crawlers, and so that helps with SEO. God bless you. Is that true or
No.
okay?
So, in a way,
Mm-hmm.
spiders like long form content because they have a lot of context.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason we have that 300 word limit in there, and it is because at some point we needed to set a limit. For, hey, we know that a spider needs a bit of context to understand what a page is about. And 300 words or thereabouts is probably what the minimum of that is.
Mm-hmm.
If you give it 5,000 words and you want to rank for a specific term, which is a fine thing to try, then that content needs to be so focused around that topic that it's slightly harder to do that well. Because even if you're doing like a 5,000 word article and you're only going for a 0.5% keyword density, that would still mean like what? I think you'd have to mention the keyword like 25 times in different spots.
Yeah, right.
And one of the things we're actually looking at doing is whether we can analyze whether you mention the keyword only in one specific bit of your content and not in a like properly spread out way across your content.
Okay.
Because if you have a 5,000 word article and you only mention your keyword in the beginning 3 or 4 paragraphs, then why would Google send someone there?
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I think a lot of listeners are breathing a sigh of relief right now, actually.
Yeah. So I'm not telling you to write 5,000 word articles. Please don't.
Okay. Absolutely. We'll make a note of that. So, in your plugin, you have an advanced tab that brings up some things like meta, robots, index, and HTML sitemaps. How important is the advanced settings for the average blogger?
Not.
Okay.
I think some of those are actually gone already, and we're removing more and more.
Okay.
Also because Google is being more honest about whether they use specific tags, yes or no. So we had an XML sitemap priority and frequency thing in there, and Google has openly said we don't actually use priority and frequency on sites under a couple of million pages.
Okay.
So we're removing it from our plugin entirely.
Oh, you're going to remove it entirely. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if somebody is interested, is there a place where they can go to?
Well, they can filter it and programmatically, but to be honest,
Okay.
I've done some pretty darn big sites. I've worked for The Guardian, I've worked for eBay, and I worked for and done SEO on some of the largest properties on the planet. And I've never been able to determine any relationship between Google indexing stuff and the priority or frequency in an XML sitemap.
Okay.
So, and luckily they've now come out and said, well, we don't actually use that for small sites. There's absolutely sections of the web where they use it, but
Okay.
those sections are usually not run on WordPress.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Another sigh of relief, right, for the new bloggers. So what's the best way for a new blogger to add your plugin, your Yoast SEO plugin?
So go into your WordPress install,
Mm-hmm.
go to plugins, add new,
Mm-hmm.
search for Yoast SEO, as in YOAST SEO, hit enter. You'll see Yoast SEO as a plugin on number one if all is well. And if not, well, stuff is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And hit install and activate and start playing.
Yeah, I offer a video that shows people how to install plugins. So if you haven't checked that out yet, do that, and it's real easy, and you can just look up.
Yeah, it's fairly easy. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's one of the most installed WordPress plugins on the planet for a reason.
Right. It's very, very easy, really.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, does Yoast SEO have an affiliate program for any of your products?
Yes, we do. We actually are changing some of that. We used to have an invite-only affiliate program.
Okay.
For specific friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing that. That'll be over the course of probably the end of August, where we'll be opening up slightly more.
Okay.
We are rather picky though, because we don't like people spamming.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we try to keep the web a bit cleaner, we also try to do the best things we can do ourselves.
Yeah. So if someone like me is interested, what could they do?
Send an email to info@yoast.com and we'll let you know as soon as new programs up.
Okay, sounds great. Are there any exciting new tools or educational programs that you'll be offering in the near future?
Well, we've actually released an SEO copywriting course about a month ago now, which I think is awesome. We've spent, especially my wife has spent a lot of time on researching like what is really good copywriting and how does SEO come into that and where do these two meet. We've been improving Yoast SEO a bit on the readability side, so we've added readability checks for things like passive voice and the sentences that are too long and things like that. We've actually hired a linguist to do a research into what makes more readable content, and took what she found out in her research and put that into code. So we're moving slowly in the direction of not just helping you optimize your content, but helping you write better content or more readable content. That's a feature you can disable if you think we're being annoying. But we find that it helps a lot of people actually write content that's easier to consume, both for search engines and for users. Let's see. So we've got an SEO copywriting course. We're planning more courses, but that'll be a slight bit before that comes up. I think by the end of the year, somewhere in December, we'll have a technical SEO course up, but that'll really be aimed at marketers that need to learn the technical side more, or developers that need to learn how SEO works. So that might not be for your average blogger. For your average blogger, we do have a basic SEO course, an SEO copywriting course, and the Yoast SEO for WordPress course that actually teaches you all the ins and outs of the plugin. So there's quite a few things that we have there that you could take advantage of if you want to.
That sounds great. And what's your domain?
Yoast.com, Yoast.com. Well, everything's there.
Awesome. I want to, if you have another minute, I want to close with a question that I ask all my guests. And this is a little more broad, but when it comes to the whole blogging phenomenon, Yoast, how has blogging changed your life?
Well, completely. I started blogging in 2003, although I'd been on the web for, I think, a decade by that time already. When I really started blogging, very quickly, I started blogging about SEO and about CSS3, which I was working on a lot at the time, which is a web standard that most people will never hear about, and well, be glad you won't. But I started blogging about that. I immediately made new friends, got invited to speak at conferences, etc. This was in the early days when blogging was still very, very hot and there was no Twitter. And well, it changed my life. I mean, I from a blog became a plugin because I was optimizing my own blog. And that plugin became the basis for what now is the company Yoast. I mean, I was a consultant back then, and now I'm a small business owner. We're closing in on 50 people at Yoast. And wow. It's ridiculous when you see the numbers. I mean, you look at almost 5 million websites in the world using our software.
Yeah.
You look at the top 1 million sites in the world, over 10% of them using our software. I mean, those numbers are ridiculous, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't started blogging.
Yeah. You're an amazing entrepreneurial success story for sure.
And a lot of luck in there too.
Well.
Yeah, well, anyone who says that they can do this sort of thing without being lucky is lying.
Are you gonna ever write a memoir or your life, your story?
Well, I'm 34.
Okay.
So it's a bit too early for that.
That's true. You got a lot more chapters to add.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Yoast, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
This has been really helpful.
Good. Well, enjoy and good luck with your show.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes and leave a rating or review to help other bloggers find us. If you want to chat, look me up on Twitter at Matt Loomis. In the next episode, we'll be talking with Jesse Wisniewski, VP of Marketing for Lucid Books, where he will share 6 reasons why you should write that book you've been thinking about, why becoming an author takes your blog to another level, and we will also discuss the ways a busy person like you can get your book done. So if you want to get her done, I'll see you next time on the Blog Chronicles.